So good evening, everybody, whether you're watching live or watching the recording. For those of you that are plugging into the Pivot on Purpose webinars, which of course we highly recommend you doing, just a quick heads up, calendar-wise, just so you guys can take a note on this. There will be no webinar this Thursday night because it is Christmas Eve, of course, and then the following Thursday night is New Year's Eve. So if you're planning on getting guests onto these webinars, which again, we highly encourage, it's something we're gonna talk a little bit more about this evening. You have one available to you this Wednesday at 11 Pacific, and then Sunday the 27th as well. And then again on Wednesday the 30th and Sunday the 3rd. So again, really quickly, just to go over to get in one more time for those of you that are watching the recording, and those of you that plug into them, no Thursday night for the next 2 weeks in a row because we have Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve. So again, no Thursday night Pivot on Purpose on the 24th or the 31st, but we will have webinars on the 23rd, 27th, and 3rd. Also, team call wise for training, we will have a team call next Sunday. So plan on that if you want to. Of course, these are always optional. Okay, so as we kind of start to wind down the year, some people in the world of entrepreneurship refer to right now as separation season. They refer to it as separation season. You'll hear a lot of entrepreneurs refer to right now as separation season. And the reason that we refer to it as separation season, of course, is because this is where the people on the right side of the quadrant, for those of you that plug into Pivot on Purpose know what I'm talking about. If not, I'll go over it again really quickly. This is where the people on the right side of the quadrant, now those are the business owners and investors who make up 5% of the population, but control 95% of the wealth, okay? This is where we choose to, when other people slow down and kind of go into a holidays, if you will, into a holiday hypnosis, this is where the people on the right side of the quadrant stay stuck in, right? So we actually, instead of slowing down for the holidays, we actually speed up during the holidays, especially in network marketing. And the reason why it's really important that if you want to, again, your business, your choice, no worries whatsoever. If you want to start the year off strong, and what we know is this, we know that 60% of all enrollments that happen inside of Isogenics happen in Q1. 60% of every single person you're going to enroll, most likely, statistically speaking, 60% of them are going to come January, February, March. 60%. That's a solid amount. 60% are going to happen in Q1. So what that tells you is that what you do for the next couple of weeks makes a huge difference. And what some people will do is some people will say, well, they'll treat it like your prospects. And what do your prospects do? They say, well, I want to wait until after the holidays, right? I want to be able to enjoy the holidays. I don't want to start anything new because of the holidays. But a lot of associates will take the same attitude, ironically speaking, right? They'll go, I got family in town and I got gifts to wrap and, I want to maybe, overdo it on the eggnog, whatever it may be. And they slow it down. They go, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I can just, first of the year comes around and then I'm going to really hit it. I'm going to really 2021 is my year, but it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. In fact, it works just like building a snowman. And what that means is that building a snowman, type in the chat box, is it easier to build a snowman, just yes or no question, is it easier to build a snowman when you have a lot of snow? When there's deep powder, is it easier to build a snowman? Significantly easier, right? You have more snow to kind of work with, right? You have more snow to start that first ball rolling. But what happens for a lot of people, and again, the separation season, is a lot of people go, yeah, I want to build a snowman. I'd love to build a snowman, but I'm going to wait until after the holidays. Well, what happens the further into January we go, what happens, right? The weather gets warmer slightly. What happens when the weather gets warmer? What happens to the snow? Snow starts to melt. And so there's less snow to choose from, and there's less snow with which to build a snowman. Excuse me, forgive me, step back, Snowperson. So, right, so if you want to build a Snowperson, I got you, MC, right? If you want to build a Snowperson, okay, it's better to do it when there is plentiful amounts of snow, okay, if you want to build a Snowperson, right? The longer you wait, the less snow that there is, simply put. And then what kind of snow do you typically have when the snow starts to melt? What kind of snow is it? Kind of dirty. It's kind of gross, right? It's the street snow. It's mushy. It's gross. It's slushy. It's got, it's got all kinds of dirt in it and all kinds of stuff, right? Now, a lot of people treat their businesses like that. And they wait and they wait and they wait. And the problem is, especially in this quarter, especially going into the first quarter, this is not a quarter where you can wait, because the reality is, even if you have people right now that are telling you they want to wait until after the holidays, even though they're saying they want to wait until after the holidays, simultaneously, they're deciding what they're going to do. They're deciding what they're going to do. And what does that mean? We know this. We know that whether you set New Year's resolutions or not, at the forefront of everyone's mind for the most part at the beginning of the year is, what can I do to change myself physically? How can I improve my financial situation? 2021 typically comes with those types of intentions, goals, resolutions, call them whatever you will. So what it means is that right now, people are actively paying attention to where they're going to choose to do that, right? So it might be 2021 is the year where I buy a Peloton and I'm gonna ride my Peloton every single day as my way of getting shape. So I'm gonna save whatever money I have to buy a Peloton. Or 2021 is the year where I really start to, make some serious financial moves. And so I'm gonna save a little bit of money to invest it into cryptocurrencies or something along those lines, right? So people are actively paying attention to where they're going to kind of take that stand for themselves. So they're actively seeking it out. So whether or not they are going to do something is not the question. The question is, who are they going to do it with? And if you're not out in the snow right now, plowing and working on building a Snowperson, they're not going to do it with you. The person they're going to do it with is the people that they see out in the snow right now, making a concerted effort, okay? And here's what I would argue. I would argue that in this time in history, this will potentially be the most important first quarter of your network marketing career. Whether you're brand new or you've been in 3 or 4 years, I would argue that this will be the most important first quarter of your network marketing career. And why? Because of the year that after this year we will no longer name. After 2020, right? The year that it'll be like Voldemort from Harry Potter. We don't say that number anymore. We just don't say 2020. But what's going to happen in 2021, I promise you, confidently, and I've been saying this from the beginning, is you are going to see a massive amount of people flood into this industry like you wouldn't believe. And you're going to see a massive amount of people flood into this company like you would not believe. And you're going to see them flood into this company for a variety of reasons. And one of the biggest reasons you're going to see people flood into this particular company is because we happen to offer, in a seismically larger way than a lot of other offers out there, the ability to deliver on exactly what consumers are looking for heading into 2021, coming off of 2020, when it comes to a product offering perspective. So when you look at consumer demand, right, we know that online shopping, for example, online grocery delivery this last year was up 29%. It's expected to be up another 35% next year, minimum, okay? We know that people are going to grocery stores less and less and less. We know that people are investing heavily into immune supportive foods. We know that there is a whole group of people, and I don't want to get into a whole conversation about this. We know there's a whole group of people that are anti-vaccination. So they're going to be seeking out supplemental ways to feel empowered about what they're putting into their bodies. We know these things. We also know that for as ambitious as people were in thinking that the economy was going to recover very, very quickly, it has not. So we know that people will not be going back to physical location jobs too soon in the beginning of the year. We know that travel is not going to pick up extensively for at least the first 4, 5, 6 months of the year. We know that people are looking for ways to earn an income from home. We know that network marketing continues to be validated because of the numbers that we put up and the stories that are being told inside of this industry. We know all of those things. So what does that mean? It means that your network, your community, your people, the people you've been in conversation with are going to be actively seeking out with whom they want to align themselves with coming into 2021. Very simple. But if you're not out in the snow digging right now, if you're not out there working on your Snowperson, but your neighbor is, when it comes time for them to make a decision, they're going to join you or they're going to join your neighbor. They're going to join your neighbor. Even if your neighbor is in a company that maybe offers a debatably inferior product, even if your neighbor is in a company that offers a debatably inferior compensation plan, even if your neighbor is in a company that has owners that aren't at the level or quality of the Cougars, they're going to choose your neighbor. And you're going to be dumbfounded. You're going to go, I don't get it. Zach talked about functional foods and wellness systems and this, that, and the other. And my neighbor sells nails and lipstick. And they joined my neighbor. I don't get it. Why? Why'd they join the neighbor? Because the neighbor was outside when we were cozied up by the fire. There are very few windows in life, in business, where you have the ability to ride an organic wave of momentum. There are very, very, very few opportunities in business where you have the ability to ride an organic wave of momentum. Now, for those of you that have ever surfed before or watched surfing before, how do you catch a wave? How do you catch a wave? What's the first step in catching a wave? What's the first step? Okay. Ali says paddle out. Antonio says get in the water. Okay. You have to get in the water. Paddle. Okay. Close. The very first step in catching a wave is evaluating the ocean before you even get in the water. The very first step is taking a look at what's the ocean doing? What's the tide telling me? What's happening with the wind? And predicting to some degree when an amazing set is going to come in. And then what do? Then we enter the water. Okay. Now, once we're out in the water and we then identify a wave that we want to ride, now it comes down to what you're talking about. And that's that we got to start paddling. Okay. So waves in the ocean happen organically, right? There's nothing, we're not talking about going to we're not talking about like being the surf champion of Arizona, right? And surfing in a wave pool, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about actual like ocean waves, Hawaii, California, wherever it may be, right? And we're talking about catching an actual wave. And waves are organically occurring. We know that they will happen. Now, are all waves as big as big as the next? Of course not. There are sets of waves. And some waves are significantly larger than others. And please hear me when I say that the next 3 years in this industry is going to be a significant wave. Significant. It is going to be a significant organic wave. And the question will be, is your board in the water and are you willing to paddle until your arms fall off? Are you willing to paddle until your arms fall off? Are you willing to paddle until your arms fall off? There is a wave that is coming. Right now is the season. Get in the water. I get that it's winter. I get that it's cold. I get all those things. Put on a winter suit. Find a way to warm up. Pee in your wetsuit. I don't care. Stay in the water and keep paddling right now. And I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just strongly suggesting that you do that. And why am I strongly suggesting you do that? Because I don't want you to be the person that sees a bunch of us having come out of the water, chilling on the beach at a barbecue, toasting the beer, sitting around the bonfire going, dude, how sick were those waves? That was the greatest wave of my life. And then you're kind of in and going like, oh, hey guys, what happened? What'd I miss? Well, you didn't pee in your wetsuit. You said to pee in your wetsuit. You got out because it's too cold, right? So it's, I hope it's okay having some fun on here, guys and gals, right? But it's really like, it's such a significant period of time right now. And I know we talk about it over and over and over again. And I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk about these things, but please commit to these Pivot on Purpose webinars for yourselves. please commit to finding a way to get 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 people a week in front of this information. Because, hear me loudly and clearly, it's not because I'm the one doing the presentation. That's what's really important to know. That eventually it's not going to be me doing the presentation. Other leaders are going to end up stepping up and doing the Pivot on Purpose webinar. It's the information. The information is relevant and it's valid and it's spoken with conviction and intelligence and it's rational and it's logical and it's non-hypey. And it really helps people to understand and identify what I talked about at the beginning of the call, which is what are consumers looking for and what are opportunity seekers seeking. And you've got to be willing to put yourself and put as many people in front of that information as possible. And if you are struggling with how to have that conversation, how do I ask people to take a look, then it's also your responsibility to take action on learning how to have that conversation. We have a lot of training available on it. And don't be scared to post in the group, bless you, Paige. Don't be scared, right, to say, hey, I get to have some help on this. Can somebody help me with some language? Can somebody give me some examples of how to ask someone to take a look? And if you don't have guests on there because something you're lacking is a little bit of confidence in asking people to take a look, which is totally normal. Okay, I was terribly scared of asking people to take a look when I first got started in business. It just took me a little time to say, okay, I'm going to do this, right? All the more reason to get on these things, even when you don't have people available. Because what will happen is you're going to hear my language, you're going to hear Eden's language, and you're going to start to be able to process and communicate everything that we're teaching on these webinars in your own style and in your own way. And what that's going to help people to do and to hear and to see and to feel from you is, wow, this person's really committed. This person's really convicted. This person really seems to know what they're talking about. This person can put me into an opportunity for me to grow inside of this industry. Now, the other thing that Pivot on Purpose becomes so important for is this, and this is why I talk about this all the time as well. One of the most underrated things that I see sold inside of our team, because I can't speak for other teams, the most underutilized thing that I see sold, what do you think it is? Take a wild guess. What do you think the most underutilized thing is that I see sold? What do you think? Mentorship, opportunity, comp plan, great guesses, great. Ali said it, the system. The system. You have a whole group of people that are literally looking to pivot in their lives. You have a whole group of people that are looking to figure out new ways of making money, new ways of showing up in the world, new ways of supporting their families, new ways of creating things inside of their communities. But you have that same large percentage of people going, I know what I want to do. I have no idea how to get there. I know what I want to do. I just have no idea how to get there. And inside of network marketing, inside of this particular organization, you have the ability to say, we have a system. We can show you step by step how to do this. Jesse's fiance, Brian, owns and operates several franchises. Why are franchises smart business models for an entrepreneur? Systems. What do systems create? Predictable, repeatable, proven results. Why is Isogenics done $8 billion in sales from a product perspective? Systematized products. Systems, things that work synergistically together to help give a very, very predictable outcome. So if I were you, if it were me, and I were having conversations heading into 2021, which I will be, but if I were you, if it were me, I'd be talking about systems with people. I'd be talking about leverage with people. I'd be talking about the ability to put people in front of information that's delivered by people that have earned millions of dollars doing this. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. The money I've made in my career was solely because all I focused on was getting people in front of the people that were more successful than me at the time. That's it. That's it. Wasn't the smartest, wasn't great at talking with people, really wasn't. My skills were pretty bad. Sometimes I wish there was documentation of me early in my career because pretty bad, sweaty armpits, the whole deal. Not pretty. You wouldn't have predicted me getting here. That's for sure. But my mentor said, listen, just sound stupid getting as many people in front of me as possible. I said, just sound like an idiot. Zach, it doesn't matter. Just do whatever you need to do. Get as many people in front of me as possible. And Zach, I'll do the heavy lifting. Now, 15 years later, I have the honor to give back and do the heavy lifting on your behalf in a season in which we have the ability to impact more lives in a more significant way than ever before. Because here's what I can tell you. There are hundreds of thousands of people who've come into Isogenics and gotten phenomenal, incredible results on these products over the last 18 years. These products have changed people's physiology in remarkable ways. And those same people right now are economically suffering. Those same people might be down 50 pounds, but they're not sure if they're going to get evicted from their homes. And why? Because the people that brought them into this company never told them about the opportunity, never shared with them the ability to learn how to do things in a systematized way. So there are people that took these products 10, 11, 12 years ago who probably aren't on the products anymore, which is reasonable, of course, right? Attrition happens. But why? Why should they still be suffering when there's a vehicle right in front of them? And it's because the person that got them started didn't introduce this possibility to them. And so please make no mistake. And I know I've been saying the same thing over and over and over again since the beginning of this thing, earlier this year. Make no mistake. People are not coming to network marketing for the products over the next year and a half to 2 years or 3 years, at least not the people you're looking for. That's not why they're going to join network marketing companies. They're not. They're going to love the products, and we have incredible products. And like this marine collagen, wildly disruptive. Some of the products that I know that Dr. Josh Plant is working on, wildly disruptive. But what does that mean? Wildly disruptive means that you, as a small business owner, have the ability to have a small piece of huge industries that otherwise we wouldn't have access to. So I know today I've been a little bit all over the place, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. What are we talking about? Peeing in your wetsuit, probably the most important thing, right? Keep yourself warm, stay in the water, no matter what it takes. But it's really important. It's really, really important for those of you, especially that might not have business experience and maybe you don't pay attention to the trends or anything like that. And that's totally okay. You don't need to. That's the beauty of the partnership. And that's what you get to talk about in your conversations with people and in your social media posts, right? If you were a nurse, for example, they don't teach you business in nursing school. Great. Hey, I'm a nurse by trade. I'm super grateful to have access to people that have made millions of dollars that are teaching me step by step how to do this. I'm a spin instructor. I'm a yoga instructor. I'm a military wife. I used to be in production in film and television. I worked retail. It doesn't matter. I'm a photographer, right? I'm in security. There's so many different walks of life that are on this call right now. So many. But the one commonality that all of you share is you have access to something that if people really understood, they'd hand over their credit card right now. But if the value proposition for the next year and a half to 2 years is, hey, I just want to help you lose weight, it's not going to be the thing that moves them. It's not going to be the thing that moves them. And I'm not saying be polarized and only talk about the opportunity and only talk about the business. I'm not saying that. But I just really, really, really would be irresponsible of me if I didn't hope to convey as much as humanly possible the importance of the next year and a half to 3 years in this industry. Because here's the reality. I've been on two sides of the wave. I've been on two sides of the wave. I've been late. Where the end of the wave crashed on me. And I've caught it right on the way up. And the reason I was late is because I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to be coachable. I wanted to do it all my own way. I wanted to go do a bunch of different things as opposed to staying singularly focused and consistent. I wanted to reinvent the wheel. So I got, and then I wised up because that's what happens when you get humbled by a big wave. So I started listening. And I got real committed to being laser focused. And I got real committed to being disciplined. And I got real committed to consistency. And I got real committed to loving myself enough to give myself a chance to see what success, real success could feel like. And I caught it on this way up. And I'm telling you all right now, there's no business model that's more fun than this business model on the rise of a wave. There's no business model more fun. And I've been in a bunch of different business models. There's no business model more fun than when you're getting paid and your friends are getting paid and you're seeing people's lives change overnight. There's nothing more exciting than that. Nothing more exciting, because that's real transformation. You can go to all the personal development seminars in the world. You can read all the books, listen to all the podcasts. You can listen, follow all the gurus, which I'm all about. By all means, please have at it. However, make no mistake that in this business model, when you really lean into it, when you really take ownership of yourself as both a student and a teacher, when you really allow yourself to be consistent enough to learn the skills so that you reach a point where you're leading people, make no mistake, this is where transformation happens. This is where real breakthroughs happen. This is where it's not rah-rah, it's not hype, it's actualization. This is where you can look somebody in the eye and go, no, 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 I knew her when. I knew her when she could barely buy diapers for her baby. It's real work, real internal work, real transformation, really being a stand for people. And there are people right now who are looking for you to show up in ways that you've never shown up before. And the person who's most looking for you to show up in ways that you've never shown up before, guess who? Is you. She's in there. He's in there. That soul, that fire that some of you heard me talk about before, that little light, that little part of you that's calling, that's praying, that's begging, that's burning, that's yearning, that's hoping, that's dying, that's singing, that's praying, that's meditating, that's visualizing, they're the ones saying, please paddle harder. Please paddle harder. And then they're the boo birds on the beach. It's too scary. The waves are too big. You're going to get hurt, blah, 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 blah. You know who it is that's screaming at you? You know who it is? It's you. It's also you. It's your ego. Make no mistake. Oh, I can't do it. She can do it. This, that, and the other. Nope. You're not stuck. You're not stuck. You don't know how to not do this. You have the resources. You have the tools. You have the ability. You might not have the skill set yet, and that's okay. But at least you're willing to say, hey, I'm going to practice. I'm going to start paddling. I'm going to wipe out a couple times until. Stay in the game. These next 2-3 weeks, stay in the game. It's very easy to shut it off. Look at the numbers on the call tonight. Only 25 people. Very easy. Why? It's cold weather. Let's cozy it up. Let's pop it. Let's have a cocktail. Let's smoke a joint. Let's chill out. Let's relax by the fire. Right? It's very easy to do. Very easy to do. Very easy to do. But you've got to make the decision. How do you want to feel come end 2021? And next week, we're going to do a very different kind of call to head into 2021. But tonight, I just wanted to focus on this particular conversation. No starting and stopping. No hemming and hawing. No hesitating. Just saying yes to yourself. Saying yes to the part of you that is crying and yelling out for you to just show up. Doesn't mean do more. I'm not saying that. Doesn't mean do more. It just means a willingness to access more parts of yourself that are dying to come out. A willingness to find a little bit more courage, a little bit more heart, a little bit more grit. And as we would say in Yiddish when I was a little kid growing up, for some of you might know this, some of you might not, East Coasters will know this, a little bit more chutzpah. Okay, you guys know what chutzpah is, right? Just like a little bit more chutzpah, moxie, right? That's the opposite, right? A little bit more moxie, a little bit more tenacity, a little bit more intentionality, a little bit more willingness to say, yeah, okay, that salt water tastes bad in my mouth. And so what? Now what? I'm going to find a way to keep going. I'm going to build the snowman. I'm going to keep paddling no matter what. Separation season. Separation season. Do not, please hear me loud and clear. Gumption, another great word for it, right? Look at that oomph. Please don't wait thinking you can just flick a switch to turn it on. It doesn't work that way. In business and in life, it does not work that way. You cannot just turn it on and turn it off and turn it on and turn it off and turn it on and turn it off. It does not work that way. Stay consistent, stay focused, stay stuck in. Understand that more people this holiday season, more people might say no than it feels like they're saying yes. But they're just saying no for a very, very, very short period of time. Very short period of time. It's a very short window. It's 2 weeks where they're going to say no. But in the third week, They're going to say yes to something or someone. Who will that someone or something be? That's entirely up to you based on how consistently you decide to show up and keep paddling and staying in the water. I apologize for keeping you guys a couple of minutes over. Thank you for joining me this evening. Have a great night. I'm going to post in the group, what did you learn? And we'll see you all soon. Lots of love. Good night.